ChevroletCost.com.
Trade your way with us because at Rusty Wallace Chevrolet, Chevys cost less.
Fall in love with the Lantern at Morning Point, Alzheimer's Center of Excellence in Clinton. The Lantern at Morning Point of Clinton is a purposely designed memory care community on one level that provides individual and custom memory care programming. Nestled in a home-like environment, we provide residents with structure to help them feel safe and secure. Call today to schedule a tour, 865-457-4005, located at 960 South Charles G. Sievers Boulevard. We look forward to serving you in our community.
Is an effective land management tool. Hi, I'm Jody Henke. When done correctly, fire improves habitat for a variety of wildlife species as you're living the country life.
Living the country life. Ideas and inspiration for your place in the country. You can find more information on today's topic and from previous shows by visiting us online at livingthecountrylife.com. We'll return to the show after these messages.
Do you have a big acreage project to tackle? The right tools for chores and projects make life much easier. We'd love for you to start and finish that project with a brand new Bobcat compact tractor. Enter the Acreage Reboot contest today for a chance to win a Bobcat CT 2025 compact tractor with a quick attached front end loader valued at over $20,000. Tell us about the project you're dreaming to complete. Include a picture of the project area and let us know how much a Bobcat tractor would help you. Enter at agriculture.com/acreage reboot. No purchase necessary. Open to legal residents of the 48 United States and D.C. 21 years and older and the owner or immediate relative of an owner of at least 3 acres of property. Begins 12:01 a.m. February 1st, 2020. Ends 11:59 p.m. May 1st, 2020. Subject to official rules at agriculture.com/acreage reboot rules. Void in Alaska, Hawaii, and where prohibited. Sponsor, Meredith Corporation. Enter the contest today at agriculture.com/acreage reboot.
If you want to improve habitat for wildlife on your land, consider setting it on fire. Prescribed burns indirectly impact wildlife by changing vegetation structure and composition. They impact how much food is available and the amount and quality of cover for wildlife. Jared Brook is an extension wildlife specialist at Purdue University. He says knowing your management objectives, especially identifying which wildlife species you want to encourage, is a very important part of your burn plan.
Not all wildlife species are going to have the same habitat, and so a fire is going to influence the habitat for specific species differently. You want to make sure you understand how that fire is going to influence the vegetation type in order to understand how it's going to influence the wildlife. So it's going to dictate how frequently you use fire. It's also going to dictate in what season or what time of year you're going to use fire.
For instance, you might burn every year or two for grassland songbirds and every 3 to 5 years for white-tailed deer. The best objectives are no good if safety isn't a part of the plan. Brooks says a common safety hazard during a prescribed fire is an inadequate fire break. The best breaks are bare soil, a gravel or paved road, or bordered by water such as a stream or pond.
The general rule of thumb is that you want your fire breaks about 2 to 3 times the height of the vegetation that's burning. So if you're thinking about burning in a native grass field, anywhere from about 20 to 30 feet is the kind of ideal width of a fire break.
Brooke also recommends letting your local authorities and nearby landowners know when you're going to burn so the fire department doesn't come out unnecessarily. Learn more about prescribed fire for wildlife management at livingthecountrylife.com. I'll see you in the country.
Living the country life. Ideas and inspiration for your place in the country. You can find more information on today's topic, share your tips, and post photos by visiting us online at livingthecountrylife.com.
As a homeowner, I'm always looking for peace of mind, especially when I have a costly, unplanned expense, like a cooling system repair or replacement. That's when I turn to the eScore Quality Contractor Network. They're the pros who've been specially trained and approved by TVA and your local power company. The quality contractors are licensed and insured, so you can be assured the job will be done right and inspected for free. Contact your local power company or visit energyright.com to learn more.
Good morning and welcome to AM 1380 WYSH and Ask Your Neighbor. Ask Your Neighbor can also be heard and seen on our website, WYSHradio.com. And if you are in Anderson, Henderson, Roane, or Morgan County and have Comcast cable, you can watch Ask Your Neighbor on BBB TV Channel 12. Ask Your Neighbor is the program where you call in and do just that. Ask your neighbor. Do you have a comment? Do you have a problem? Or do you have a question? Then call in and ask your neighbor. 865-457-1380 or toll free at 877-711-4005. And for those of you that might be listening or watching on the internet, you can email from our website, wishradio.com. Just click on the Contact Us button and email your questions. Now sit back and listen as listeners throughout East Tennessee and the entire world answer your questions on Ask Your Neighbor on BBB TV 12 and AM 1380 WYSH.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome into another edition of David West Stars and Stories of the Cas Walker Show here on AM 1380 WYSH, FM 101.1 and 99.5, AM 960 WQLA, and FM 95.9. Thursday morning. Good morning, boys. How are you this morning?
Oh, we're here. We heard on the road, huh?
Did you bring the snow with you?
It started right now.
That's what they said.
Just coming down just a little bit. It's just small flakes.
I'm just waiting on the call. Like I was telling them earlier, just waiting on the call to go get the kids. It started raining and snow.
You know what Howard said? Howard said it didn't make no difference. He said snow was the same. It's the only difference is 1 inch or 5. It's just snow.
Oh, yeah.
This guy like Fred Smith said, he said, you know, rich people is just poor people with money. So you got to realize what makes it all tick, ain't you?
When the snow piles up out here, I want you all to come up here on this hill with me.
I got a 4-wheeler.
I can slide right down here. Getting up the hill is not the problem. Going down the hill, it's fun. Try and make that first curve.
I did that over by the side of the hill, and what I done, I'd get 4-wheel drive, and then I'd get over off the road with 2 wheels, come down. I could come down. Me and Luke was playing a big show with Marshall at Calhoun's over in Knoxville, and they blocked the highway. I said, well, I'll go home. He said, hey, you know, I said, ain't nobody on the road with me because I don't worry about it. I got drove on the edge. It took me an hour, but I got home.
Well, it was, I guess, 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, we had snow. They were predicting snow was coming. I was at the house, and I was worried about it, so I told Beth, I said, I'm just going to go up and sleep at the station because otherwise I won't get there till in the morning. So it started snowing, so about midnight, I headed up this way and got down here at the bottom of the hill in my truck and put it in 4-wheel drive, and I couldn't get up the hill. I tried, and I tried, and I tried, and I tried. I ended up sliding back down the hill, hitting the stop sign. Scraped all the side down to my truck. Got out of the truck, dropped my phone, couldn't find my phone. So I walked up the hill. I got up here. I was determined I was getting up this hill, so I got a snow shovel. We got a snow shovel in the back. And I shoveled 2 lanes, 2 tire tracks from the top of the hill all the way down to the bottom of the hill, all right? Shoveling. It took me till 4 o'clock in the morning. 4 hours. And so then I drove up here, parked the truck, and at 5:30 it had melted off. I was so mad. Jim just come driving right in at about 5:15. I said, hey, how'd you get up the hill? He goes, the snow's gone.
Snow's gone.
I worked all night long shoveling snow.
Well, you can't run. It wasn't your day.
It wasn't my day. And I lost my phone. I had to end up go buy another phone. And about 3 days later, our engineer, Bob Wallace, he comes walking in and goes, hey, I found the phone laying down the bottom of the hill. After I already went and bought another one, $800, $900. So,
okay.
Yeah, usually getting up the hill is easy. Getting down the hill is fun. Getting down the hill is like sleigh riding.
Well, we got a lot of guests this morning. I guess we better start moving them, man.
All right. If you want to start
I'll let Howard get up if he wants to, and Barney, you sit while I talk.
Hang on, I'll take a break and we'll scoot him in here.
Okay.
Into the Shylock's Bluegrass Picks every Saturday morning from 10 to 11 on WYSH 1380 and FM 101.1. Shylock's Bluegrass Picks has your perfect mix of bluegrass songs from way back to current. The good old sound of that banjo, down-home picking, and country sounds coming through your radio for a perfect Tennessee Saturday morning. It's the Shylock's Bluegrass Picks on WYSH. Shylock's has cash for you.
respect, reputation, results. A divorce or child custody case can be very stressful. You need to know your rights. The team of attorneys at Fox and Farley can ensure that your rights are protected and that your children's best interests are taken into account. The Fox and Farley team has years of experience in divorce, juvenile law, and child custody litigation, and will be at your side through every step of the process. Call Fox and Farley today, 457-6440, 457-6440. The team at Fox and Farley.
Are you turning 65? Are you confused by your Medicare options? Would you like to save money on your prescription drug copays? Are you receiving all the Medicare benefits you're entitled to? That's a lot of questions. You can get answers by calling your local specialist at Medicare Insurance Advisors. They make Medicare simple by offering many plans and no-cost reviews. Medicare Insurance Advisors, 865-691-5571, or online, MedicareKnoxville.com.
All right, we're back. AM 1380 WISH, FM 101.1, AM 960 WQLA. It's a finely tuned machine around here, isn't it? We just like a sewing machine, brother.
We don't know what's going to happen, who it's going to be.
No.
And Rick,
what's going to happen, too?
We got some more special guests, but right now, we got a dear friend of mine. He and I has worked so many shows together. And I remember, some of the first shows he ever did, I worked with him. And he's Barney 5, looks better than you. Uniform, but anyhow, since you can't wear it today.
Sammy, what was the first?
Sammy Sawyer.
Turn that mic a little bit towards you. What was the first one you did?
First show I ever did out in the public was in 1992. In December of 92, two buddies of mine, we got together and wrote a show called Mayberry Christmas, and we did it at a church in Halls, Tennessee.
Okay.
And it's the first time I ever done it out in public. And
it wasn't long thereafter that we did the thing down here, wasn't it?
Yeah, that took off after. I'll tell you what, that was just in 92, and from 92 to about 2001, the first show I really did out after that was we did a thing at Thompson Bowling Arena for our Living Christmas Tree for Sevier Heights Baptist Church.
Okay.
And we were over there, and we had it was a spoof thing we did at the beginning of it. It's about superheroes saving Christmas from this troll. And then we had guys playing,
superheroes and trolls.
We had a guy playing Superman, Batman and Robin, Fonzie, Indiana Jones, Rocky. We had all these superheroes, and then they had Barney coming out. Well, they had Barney coming out to save Christmas, but it was we started getting calls at the church. But I'll tell you, the best thing that ever happened to me was from that. They called me back to do that same church in Halls again about that same time. Well, Glenn Farrington, y'all know Glenn Farrington, and I still owe a debt of gratitude to Glenn Farrington. He said, I know a guy that has a place in his backyard he calls Mayberry. It was John Hitch.
Yeah.
John Hitch. So I went over and introduced John Hitch. We did one of his Mayberry Country Classic show, or the Tennessee Valley Barn Dance, at his home. And one day he says, you need to meet David West. And so he brought me out to meet David West. Well, guess who David West introduced me to? Was Ron Meredith. And we started doing, and from that, we went, you had me down at the fair. From the fair, somebody came up to me, and I can't remember the guy's name, but he said, do you ever do car commercials or any kind of commercial? I said, well, not really. I said, but I'd like to. This was around early 2000s, and we did Herb Newton Nissan Bridge. Started doing those, and you ended up doing them in Atlanta.
Yeah, for his dealership down there, too.
Did Atlanta, Nashville, did a bunch of them. But it all started with one person introduced to somebody. That's why networking is so huge. And so I told David this before, but I owe a debt of gratitude to you all, because that got started, and we've been 21, 22 states.
Either a debt of gratitude or we sent you down the wrong path.
You guys are my heroes. You really are.
You remember one of the ones you did for the Nissan, and they had to have a billy goat.
Oh, a goat. Yeah, we had
a billy goat.
I got to get to Riley here in a minute, but we had a billy goat.
I went out there on the farm. I got farm. I went on the farm. He had a big old long antlers. He was pretty tame, but he
wasn't tame to me. I'll just say that much. That boy bucked me to death. Hey, we had it was Jimmy the Loaded Goat, and we were down there. This was around about 2005, and so they wanted us to do that commercial, and I said, okay, and I'd help them. I said, here's kind of what we ought to do. And so I was trading my squad car and a goat in on a new Nissan Altima. And this goat, David, got,
we didn't have time to bathe him, and he
stunk like crazy.
He stunk, and the poor people done commercials, before they could finish, they had to change clothes about three. The goat never did take a bath. They had to take a lot of baths between.
All I remember was holding his horn, him bucking me in the hind end, me trying to say those lines. You want a Nissan? It was awful. I didn't do a very good job. The goat did a great job.
Television history right there, guys.
I took that old goat down there. This old boy, I put a boy in the back. I had a cattle truck, and I took the old boy came in. He said, "Oh, I hope they don't get too close to these shores around you today." I got to tell you one quick, man. I had him at Ciderville, and we had gates, right there next to the swings. The goat could come right up to the audience. You just reach through there and pet him. Well, the goat come down. There's about 4 girls in there. Oh, look at that Bill. They started petting him, and this young boy's going to show out. He jumped in there and right before showtime, he's dressed up, and he jumped over in here. Here's the way you do a goat, and he jumped up on him. Well, he got up on him, he come out, he smelled like a polecat. he ran up, and his girl, he's trying to impress them girls, and he said, "Hey, you like that?" One said, "Shoot, you stinking." They all 4 run. He lost all his girlfriends. He's sitting there, and he looked over at me, some fiddle, and he said, "What am I going to do about this?" I said, "I guess you got to go home, take a shower, and get a new clothes."
You remember with the goat we were trying to get, we couldn't catch in the field. I chased that thing, Riley. We were trying to get the goat that looked more like Jimmy from the Andy Griffith Show. And we ended up having to settle with the one that I could get got in the truck. Because,
you remember the one Ron we used on some kind of Clayton commercial? Clayton Nissan, too, wasn't it? And he had the girls, all them girls in there.
I don't remember the goat.
Hattie was trading her goat.
Oh, yeah, I do. Okay.
He traded the goat.
I forgot about that.
They said, "Are you going to want?" And I just looking around, and he had his wife and the goat in the back. And, she got mad because he swapped his truck and her and the goat for a Nissan. You remember that? And he had these girls dressed in bikinis. And Mr. Walker was sitting in this little convertible when he left. He's sitting there in this convertible, and she was making a face, holding this goat, looking real mean at him. And Mr. Walker said, "Clayton got a better deal." I like not got the commercial cut because he kept saying, "Are we going to do some more like this?"
He liked the girls.
89-year-olds. The girls had him sparking a little bit. You see the few blazers come to me. He said, "We're going to do some more like this one."
Sammy, introduce your guest to us.
Well, I'll tell you what, Riley Lovingood, he played at UT for 4 years, wasn't it? 5 years. He was there for 5 years. Riley, he is from Middle Tennessee, and I was telling him about the Cas Walker, and so he started studying up about Cas. He was telling me some stories coming over here watching some of the videos, and I was telling him what a character he is. But Riley is a great young man, and Riley, tell him where you're from and a little bit about how you got to UT.
Well, I'm from a place called Shackle Island.
Shackle Island.
Okay. Yes, sir. Right outside Hendersonville, Tennessee, Sumner County. Not a big school. I got to Tennessee. I was freshman year of high school. I was 5'5", 170 pounds, ran a 6'2", 40. And if you don't know anything about college football, you're not going many places like that. No. Short, chubby kid. You're not going many places like that. So I was like, all right, how am I going to get to college football? Well, I'm going to learn long snap.
Were you playing football?
I was playing football.
In high school? Okay.
I was on the line, hand to dirt.
I was right guard.
I chop blocking everybody out there, head to knees, because I couldn't do much else. So I learned the long snap, and I got pretty good, and I actually hit a growth spurt. Junior high school, grew to 6'2". Everything kind of fell into place. Got some athletic. I was
stretched out. Huh?
Yeah, stretched out. All of a sudden, you get faster, you can jump. And I got really good long snap. I became number 2nd in the nation, I think, 3rd in the nation. Got Auburn, Clemson, Vanderbilt, Tennessee. Bush Jones sold me on Tennessee. That guy, he was a heck of a salesman.
He told me he had a chance to go to Clemson. You'd had 1 or 2 rings, wouldn't you?
Well, so I had a visit set up for Clemson, and this is back in 2013. So Dabo Swinney was just a receivers coach who became my head coach. No one knew. And I canceled the visit because I got a scholarship offer for Tennessee, and I committed the next day. Yeah. So Bush Jones offered me a scholarship. I drove to Knoxville for a visit. I committed that next day. And I canceled everything else after that. I called something.
Had you been up here to a ball game prior to being recruited?
My dad was a chaplain for Coach Fulmer.
Oh, really?
Late 90s.
That's
back
cool.
in the glory days when we were rocking and rolling.
Absolutely.
So I've been around.
So you were familiar with Tennessee ball?
Oh, yes, sir. I've been a Tennessee guy like all my life. Uncle was a manager. My brother was a manager. My dad was a chaplain for Fulmer. So I'm the first guy to play, though, so they can.
What's the most memorable game you remember?
Georgia 2016.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I got the special teams player of the week, SEC special teams player of the week of that game.
Okay.
Yeah, so I told Juwan all the time, hey, Juwan, if it wasn't for my play, you wouldn't have had yours. And then, vice versa, if Juwan doesn't catch that ball, my play doesn't matter. Yeah. So we all need each other.
What a great play. You're talking about the pass into the end zone, right?
Yes.
Hail Mary, as it were.
Yeah, but my play, I caught a ball over my head, a punt, and down on the 3-yard line with 4 minutes to go. And we got a strip touchdown the next play.
See, they forget that.
It's
We don't remember the catch. We don't remember how it got set up. Huh?
That's right. There's a few people every now and then don't remember it for me, but
Juwan's nothing without you.
No, like I said, I was sitting there like, dang. I was sitting like, we're gonna like. And I said, Juwan, if you don't make that catch, none of the other good plays in the game matter because no one cares about what you do in the game if you lose. One notification by the long snapper.
I'm sure that didn't weigh on him at all going out there. Huh?
Great pep talk. Yeah, great pep talk.
That was after the game.
After the game.
Yeah. Well, when he signs this big NFL contract and for several $1 million in a little bit, you remind him of that.
He don't need that. Juwan has done so much.
Yeah.
I've known that guy since we were juniors in high school.
Yeah.
He's a talented young man, isn't he?
He's a good guy. He's a good guy. He's a guy you want on your team. A guy you want to be as your friend, really.
Yeah. Well, I told Riley about David in the radio station, and of course UT football, and the tie-in with Cas Walker and some of the other stuff and the players. And you're going to get to meet Creed Daniels. Does he have season football tickets? Because I know we'll ask
him. He used to. If you don't now.
He has everything.
I look down there at the basketball. Yeah, I look down there at the basketball games, and I see Creed right there behind he's right there on the floor with them. Yeah. But there's so many good stories about Cas Walker and East Tennessee, and that's what I love about some of these young guys. And I know when Peyton comes back, when Peyton's been here, and our former players, they will come to. They've been to Siderville and
Ray Hands. We picked a lot of shows for them over. Yeah, I just got a football that Ray brought me from him, and Ray gave me a number. He said, "David, this is for the box. Don't have to. Just please come over and call. Usher will ring you up."
It'd be a luxury box. Yeah. It's more fun watching it in the stands.
I'll take Ron. We'll go over one day, Ron.
That's fine. I've watched him in the luxury boxes a number of times. I'd rather be outside. I'd rather be out. It doesn't feel. Yes. It doesn't feel like you're at a ball game when you're up there in the box because it looks like you're watching a big TV screen. You're all glass.
If you get in the box, or you get to sit with.
That's true.
Kenny Chesney and all the people.
Well, I asked you about if you ever had a bad snap. Now you said playing before 100,000 people. What's that like? I mean, you're out there on the field and you got 100,000 screaming fans at you. Not all of them like you. How's that like?
Well, how's the game going for us?
Yeah, that's it. If we're winning, it's great.
That's what you've done for me lately, right, Riley?
If we're talking about this past season in September,
yeah.
If we're talking about in November, then
after the BYU game, how did you feel?
Oh gosh,
was going to rebound.
Yes, I did.
You
know what? It was after the Florida game where we, as seniors, we got together with the team and Coach Pruitt. So after we got back from Florida that night, is 1 or 2 a.m. We went straight to the meeting room and we had a kind of real talk of kind of combining the younger guys and the older guys on the team. And we need to get everybody on one page. Here's what we're gonna do. We gotta go to work. And then the next day, it's kind of like Coach Pruitt and the senior leadership took over practice for the next good while and complete takeover accountability and forcing guys and make sure everybody was gonna hold their part.
I know the BYU game didn't end up the way we wanted, but it was a good game. I've got 9-year-old twin boys and a 13-year-old boy. My wife and I decided that we were going to take them to that game. We felt like we would win. It would be a good game to go to. But we stayed through both the overtimes. I mean, it was intense. And then watching my kids be so excited about it. I'm disappointed when we didn't win, but still, it was a good game. If we would have won that game, I would hang that as like one of the best
played games when you guys came back in the second half and really started playing ball.
Yeah.
But there you go. But man, what a season was made out of that for such a hard start. Turned it around.
Other than LSU, does Tennessee right now got the current longest winning streak? Or I mean, we've won what, six or seven in a row now. So we're doing better.
It should be 6 in a row.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
We always talk about streak.
Yeah. Well, we need to keep it going. But the
bowl game was exciting.
Bowl game, yeah. I didn't see the last 4 minutes of the game actually.
Yeah. Tell them the story.
Yeah, what happened here?
So actually, 22-22. We kick a PAT to go up 23-22. 4 minutes to go.
Yeah.
My guard pulls my knee. I tear my ACL.
Oh.
I get off the field though.
You did it on the field?
Yeah. So I have my guard. That's just football. When you're in the middle of the line, you get people to take your knees out. So I get off. I go in the tent, and I didn't get to see the rest of the game. I hear screaming on their side of the field and our side of the field. So I was trying to wonder what happened, and I was trying to figure out how I got to go back in. If we're going to have to kick a game-winning field goal, I got to be the one to snap it. I can't let anyone else go and snap.
Yeah.
I refuse to do that. And it turns out we need to punt with 1 minute to go, and they're going to bring a blitz. So I actually put a brace on my leg.
Torn ACL.
Torn ACL, yes.
Go back out.
And I figured out a new way to snap, kind of with my leg. I kind of hyped my leg up and just got a whole new way to snap. Figured it out in a few minutes, get a few practice ones, and I was ready to go. I went out there and snapped it and I snapped it and hobbled off the field after that. And it was actually, we had a good snap, and actually probably a perfect snap. It was a great snap.
I'm going to go back and watch that. I'll be able to notice that now.
We got a point off it was good, but I felt it after that, though.
I bet you did.
Wow. What do you have to do when you tear an ACL? Is it surgery sometimes if it's real bad, or can you?
So mine, it's partially torn, so I still have a little bit holding on.
Okay.
And so I'm trying to build around it, and if you work it right, you can let it heal back. I don't want to do surgery.
No. Are you healed up yet?
I'm feeling good. I jogged today.
Okay.
Now you said you're going to the combines, or are you going to?
I have an NFL Pro Day next month.
Okay. Well, good.
And we'll have a big Pro Day. We have a bunch of guys that can go to the NFL. And so we'll probably have all 32 teams there. It should be a really big way. Some good talent coming out.
Do you have a goal team to go to, or you just
anybody
want to get in?
Anybody take me, I'll go. Anybody will take me. Anybody will pay me to stop a football, I'm there.
Man, I'll tell you though, as spectators, we don't think a whole lot about long snappers until we need them. Until we're at that position where the field goal or the PAT is going to make the game. Yes. And then everybody's paying very close attention to you.
A lot of people don't realize that you played high school ball with he was a great prospect and still a great player. Played for he was injured and didn't get to play in the Super Bowl, but Jalen Hurd and at Beach High School. And did y'all come out the same year?
Year before me. I actually played Little League baseball, Little League football, and high school football and college football with him. Yeah. So I got to play a lot of ball with Jalen.
Yeah. He's a freak athlete.
Oh, come on.
He looks like he's a beast.
In high school, I blocked for 1.5 seconds. I would just hit the guy, and I would just kind of watch. He was so athletic. He'd be already down the field. I was blocking, he'd already be down the field running. Truck a bunch of 5 guys and be in the end zone.
So you have been there through Butch's tenure and Coach Pruitt. Mm-hmm. And how are they different? How, looking at them without,
I'll give you a common difference. One's from the north, one's from the south. And so I'll tell you one thing. There's a learning curve when it comes to the sayings that Coach Pruitt has for some of the guys who are from our areas.
They have to figure out what he means.
Yeah, and they love it too. Come on now. Not that far yet.
Riley thought we told him we was going over here for dinner here in a minute. He goes, when?
I've been downtown Knoxville. I've been downtown Knoxville too much.
Yeah, you're from the city now. If you live in Knoxville, what's the name of the town you're from?
Shackle Island.
Shackle Island. He said, here's the thing, David. He said there's a place. What's the name of the place?
Stone Cold Jamboree.
He said that there's a place similar to Ciderville, smaller, but back at his hometown, that they do. They have served food. Tell them about it.
That's good. The best fried chicken. Sunday lunch is usually when you gotta go. And they half the room is a restaurant. They serve chicken, just not much, but just meats and veggies, and then half of it is a stage, and they usually pick the banjo, or they have just bluegrass or country somewhere. Yeah,
just people get up and play and
people usually just get up and play.
Open back.
Thursday nights is square dancing.
That's great.
So they usually have set nights, but
I'm going to sing here in a little bit.
No, you're not.
not
okay.
No, I've been banned from the radio. Come on.
Riley, how much time you put in a day working out?
So right now, I'm actually working a full-time job, so I train from 6 a.m. to 8:30 a.m.
Okay. Put about 2.5 hours a day in. 7 days, 5 days? What do you eat?
7 days.
7 days.
But back in college football, I mean, you're doing it all day.
Yeah. How hard was it balancing? I told you earlier, my wife's a professor over there, and she has taught a number of football players over the years. But how hard was it to balance your athletics with your academics?
It's tough. And so I was a little different. I actually got 2 degrees while I played.
Oh, wow.
So I got my master's degree also. So I did 175 hours of school in 4.5 years.
Holy cow.
So I was kind of...
What were you taking, about 16, 18 hours?
Yes, sir. I would take about 18 hours a semester. Then
and ball.
And in the summer, I'd take about 12 hours. So I went full-time in the summer, too. I had a scholarship, and I was going to make the most of it. So I got 2 degrees.
Good for you. That's
I got
awesome.
a master's degree, so that paid off. So school was pretty tough to balance.
I bet. Like I said, I'm familiar with it some because Beth has to she works with athletes and stuff. And then when Coach Fulmer was there, she served on a board with him that was their goal, to make sure that they were paying attention to the academics of the athletes. They obviously wanted you guys playing to the top of your capacity, but they also wanted you to walk out with a diploma.
And Coach Fulmer is there right now.
Yeah, he is. I'm telling you, I think one of the greatest things Tennessee did was bring him back and put him in a position as athletic director. Right. There's not a person walking the earth that has more love for University of Tennessee than Phil Fulmer. I've had the opportunity to get to know him over the years, and even in private settings, I've never heard him utter a bad thing about the university. Even when he was going through, when it was really hard on him, never heard him say a disparaging remark about the university. I've heard him say a lot about Alabama. I have.
Oh, man, he hates Alabama.
He hates Alabama.
Vanderbilt, Alabama, Florida, Georgia.
That's what surprised me about bringing Pruitt in, because he's an Alabama guy. But I'll
tell you what, Coach Pruitt, he's one of the most competitive men you'll meet.
I'll bet.
So when it comes to Alabama, there's no loyalty there. He's ready to beat them, especially Coach Saban. I mean, he's ready to beat Alabama. One, because he wants to win Tennessee, but 2, he just wants to beat everybody. He's competitive. I love it.
What's the team going to look like next year from your perspective?
I think the team's going to be good. They got a lot of talent coming back. Man, they got a lot of talent. Offensive line, quarterbacks. We got several good quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Really, I don't think you can go wrong with any one of them. Good running backs. Receiver, I mean, I got a lot of hope for this team. Coach team's also really good.
So we're in good hands with Coach Pruitt.
You're in great hands with Coach Pruitt.
No, not we. You. All of us. We're in here, man.
I got a call the other day. The athletic department is recruiting one of the coach's sons. I want to say down at he's coached down at UT Chattanooga, I think. Anyway, University of Tennessee, Coach Pruitt, they're trying to recruit. He's a quarterback, and they want to recruit him up here. Well, he's a big hunter, and so they asked Beth, my wife. They said, "Hey, does your husband know anywhere to hunt?" I don't hunt. I'm not a big hunter. She was like, "I don't think so." Anyway, they couldn't find a place. Nobody knew a place that he could go hunt.
That's just asked me. I think.
Well, anyway, I called my cousin because he owns a bunch of property. Anyway, so they took him up. They brought him in as a prospect to see the university, and they took him hunting. And they said that pretty much that sealed the deal. Got to take him up on the property, up on the farm. It's interesting the way that they recruit and the tools that they use, and I can remember. Obviously, didn't play ball, but I've been down on the field before and just standing there looking at it. I couldn't imagine what it would be to run through the tee and play the ball, and to have that as a legacy.
It's amazing.
I bet it is.
I got to play the biggest college football, or actually the biggest football game ever, actually.
In Bristol.
At Bristol. Oh, wow. The Battle of Bristol, man.
Yeah. Battle of 180,000 people.
Yeah.
That was unique.
Yeah.
Now, when you run through the tee, what is it like? I mean, run through the tee. Can you describe it?
Chills every time. This year I got to be in the very front almost every time too, so that was nice as a fifth-year senior. And you open out, you got to dodge all the people taking pictures. It's the worst thing you do is trip.
Yeah, you don't want to trip on the
tea.
First thing you do is be especially the long snapper tripping, to everyone else.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. How many long snappers, if you got hurt and you couldn't go in, how many long snappers do we carry? I mean, does most teams
about 4 or 5 long snappers.
Oh, do they? Okay, so they have somebody that could do that.
Yes, but my competitive nature, I was not going to trust. I trust them, but I wanted to. I'm not going to play.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm going to sit out of a Tennessee game.
Yeah.
So now, how did you and Sammy get to know each other? Through politics? Is this what we're coming to?
We did. We're working together
with
here.
Bill?
Yeah, we are. We're working together, and we've got some events. We're actually trying to get a date on an event we're going to try to do at Siderville, but we'll let everybody know about that in the coming weeks.
Anderson County Schools dismissing elementary students and students at Norris, Norwood, and Lake City Middle Schools at 11:30.
I told you it was coming.
I know.
told you it was coming.
Students at high school and Clinton Middle dismissing at 12:30 after school activities are canceled. No word on Clinton Elementary, right, Jim? All right.
You mean we're going to strip you all day?
We're going to eat dinner. Hey, we'll get to eat dinner up here tonight.
I told you it was coming.
No, you told us supper.
That's supper. Yeah, dinner.
Hey,
supper.
tell us how many hours you got in on Cas Walker.
Studying before he got up here? Shoot.
What's the favorite video?
You go sit.
He probably saw the parking lot video almost.
Favorite one.
There you go.
Everybody loves you talking about them.
I've seen some of his county commission ones, but I always go back to the thug one.
Yeah,
he's talking about we're gonna take you out, we're gonna work you, and we're gonna whoop you. You ain't gonna go to the jail. You're gonna come here and you're gonna work in the Cas Walker Show.
The good part, we're standing right beside him when he's telling us. He tells us that, but we're on TV, but did he show us? That's all that laughing is. That's life. He meant every word of it. It's the bad part.
Yeah, well, yeah, man.
He would fight. I mean, he really fight.
See, that's Italian.
I love it. He carried the club with him in the car, didn't he? That Rambler.
He shot one guy right there in the head, and with a 32, and he come back there and lodged. And he said, he got up and going to whoop me. He said, I beat him and he had guns and called the law. Law comes in, you better get a bigger gun. Somebody's going to hurt you.
But tell him.
This guy was a bad egg, baby.
He was. What you want to do, I know we're doing some stuff with politics, but now your degree, and what are you looking to do in the future if football doesn't work out? Which we're hoping you get signed.
I am hoping too, but here's the thing. You can play, the average NFL career is 3 years. You make it. And so you look at the numbers, you're 26 years old when you're done playing NFL football.
Right.
The average players.
You got a whole life.
You got a lot of life. And I didn't really realize that until about halfway through college. And most of our players don't realize that ever.
Yeah.
Coach Pruitt broke it down for us this past season. He said, guys, I want you all to play long careers, but the facts are there. Most guys don't make it to the NFL. And if you do make it, 3 years is the average length. So you're 26 years old. You got a long life ahead of you. So I got my degree in my master's in communication global securities.
Oh wow!
I thought, shoot, I like to talk to people. I love meeting people. I love helping people. So I was like, man, I'm gonna give politics a try. So I'm working in politics for a guy named Ambassador Bill Haggerty, run for Senate.
Sure. And
I figured I might want to do politics. If not, I'll figure something out along the way when I go meet everybody for the job.
If you like people, and politics is a fun way to go sometimes. it can get dirty.
You gotta do it the right way.
Yeah.
Well, you got a good head on your shoulders, and Siderville's got some openings, and we need somebody to sell Martin guitars and bands.
Hurry up and get a big game so you can buy it. I need a break.
We might get a date. I'll get a date to you, Ron, and we'll let folks know about that. But it's going to be a fun
fundraiser.
We're going to try to do if we can get him in town, and we'll have some home cookings, and needs to be around some common folk. We'll have some good time, but we'll let everybody know about it.
It's going to be a blowout. How big is it?
If we have pinto beans, like you said, we may be a big blowout.
How big is it?
We're going to do
really big.
We're going to do it supper.
Supper. I know you got some other guests here, but I want to show this. I've got my granddaughter.
Oh, there you go.
This is the shirt that Riley held it so I can tell everybody. Riley Lovingood held my granddaughter's shirt.
There you go.
It says world's greatest dad-all, and my wife absolutely hates it.
She don't know what that word means.
That is in tribute to Cas Walker.
I know
we do that.
That's what the grandkids call him.
Yes, it's the world's greatest dad-all. So this is the only shirt like this. You can't buy these nowhere. They had that made for me.
Let me give him a quick dad-all story.
Yeah, okay.
You have to think of a guy in one outfit back in the 70s. He had in just one section. He had 450 people working in that one section. He had so many people, and it come Christmas worked for him. He said he'd give them all a ham or a turkey. That's about, that's a lot of money for you to get 1,000 people. Well, we was on TV, that section. They said, what are we going to get Dad all for Christmas? Danny Bailey in charge said, what are we going to buy Dad all for Christmas? And what could you buy? A guy that owns department stores. He owns everything. He owns everything that life requires, even cars and built houses and built buildings and everything. And Fred Smith was a comedian that went to Nashville. He's on Hee-Haw and all that stuff. And Fred Smith said, I know what we can give him. And Dan said, what? I said, well, and he talked. I said, he's getting us a ham or a turkey. Why don't we buy him some roast beef? What would you get a guy like that? Tell us another Cas Walker story.
Now, you watched the video of the parking lot, and you said you saw the article about when he's on Time Magazine for punching the kill. You're going to get into politics, so
prepare yourself.
The stories of.
I got another area, so I figured I got to find out who are the key people from this area. And Cas Walker is number one.
Right here.
What are you looking, if you do venture into it, what are you looking to run for? What's your passion?
I'm 23 years old. I don't have all that figured out. I got Sammy here and I got Mr. West, so I'm sure I'll figure out something.
Don't go by me.
You're talking about
lean on these two guys.
Talking about going into communications. I'm sure you've heard the name Larry Sievers.
Yes, sir.
Larry's from here in Clinton and did play-by-play in color for us a couple of years back. It's been probably 20-some years ago. Charles McCray.
Yeah.
Charles did. Charles played for UT and then went on to play for Atlanta. He played for Tampa Bay and Atlanta. I think he finished his career in Atlanta. That's why he met his wife. She was a cheerleader down there. But both those guys have, when they came back after their NFL careers, helped. At that time, it was Jim Hollingsworth that was doing ball for us, but they went and they called Clinton football, which was pretty cool to have a perspective like that. And Sievers, goodness gracious, one of the greatest receivers we've ever had in Tennessee was, I think he played for the Rams.
He's on our wall.
Yeah. I'd say he is. A couple of games, man, he's catching them on top of people's helmets and behind him.
I asked him a few months ago. He's one of my prospects I was trying to do with my insurance, but I was talking to him about it, and I said, Larry, you had the best hands. He's got big hands.
Yeah.
It was a great receiver, and he said, I got to be honest with you. And he said this. He's so humble. He said, I made an easy catch look hard. That ain't true. He had some of the best catches ever at UT.
I know some guys like that.
He started humble. He was an outstanding athlete.
He's a great guy.
Yeah.
He, like I said, anytime folks come back to their hometown and sit down on their hometown radio station and share. I mean, they're calling the game, but the perspective that they brought to it, makes it fun for anybody to listen to. It's cool.
Just tell me why I say. I was trying to think when I was a kid. Did they used to broadcast some of the UT stuff? Or
Back before they started licensing it. When I can't remember what the company was called, but back when they started syndicating it, then you bought rights.
Yeah.
I think Mr. Dick paid $1.2 million for the rights to have it. And then when he did that, obviously they didn't want anybody else with it. So yeah, at one time we had it, IVK had it, U102, which remember before it was Star, they had it. We had it when I was working, when I was 13 years old up in La Follette. I was working at the station and we had it on up there. So everybody had it.
Yeah.
But when it got to be, I guess, a brand, and somebody started putting real money in it, they tightened the reins. We're not allowed to have it now.
Well, I told Riley I was raised on Wish and Hammers. I'm from Clinton area and the Tri-Cities. See, this is the Tri-Cities to me. I was raised right in between North Clinton and Lake City, which is called Rocky Top.
Nah.
It's still Cold Creek and Lake City to me, and will be till the day I die.
He don't know which way he's from.
I was really confused, Riley, on that.
Tri-Cities, man, just call it Tri-Cities. You talking about Cold Creek?
Cold Creek.
Lake City or Rocky
Lake City is what I always know.
Riley, how'd you get hooked up with Mr. Haggard?
Shoot.
Jeff?
I just showed up to an event one day with Congressman Burchett and his crew. I got there and I said, hey, invite me along I'm going to come learn some people. And so he invited me to the event they did with Ambassador Haggerty. And I showed up. I met Bill and I met some people around him. I talked to him and gave him my number. I said, hey, if you ever need anything, let me know. I thought they might want me to help volunteer or show for an event. So that's I play football. I know a few people in Knoxville, and so I get a call a month later. They offer me a job. I go, I don't know politics. I don't know anything. They offered me a job. I didn't know anything about it. But I said, all right, I'll do it.
So what's your job?
I'm regional field director. So I'm running these 9 counties here in East Tennessee.
And that's what, just getting the word out, or scheduling him to be places, or all of it?
Everything. Representing the ambassador here in these counties, networking, setting up events for him, being at events for him, spreading the word, and just campaigning for him. But
he's doing a great job. But he had an event. We're going at Hoskins Drugstore. We're going to try to maybe
we're going to do one. Yes.
Yeah. But he's doing a great job. Riley's doing a great job. Don't be so modest. You're doing a great job. And
I know that the president thinks highly of him.
Oh yes. The president called him a few days ago, talking about our race. Yeah, he's pretty excited about it.
You went down to Nashville when he was down with Donald Trump Jr., weren't you?
Mm-hmm. His son came down a few weeks ago. Nikki Haley came down this past week.
Well, I'll tell you who else he's met is Jane, who's a good friend of yours. Yeah, Jane is super. And
Mr. Senator Alexander's
that's right,
assistant. Yeah.
And this is he's retiring, and so
that's another Campbell County gal. She's from LaFayette. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Campbell Motors, that's her daddy.
I did not know that.
You learned something new today.
Well, I think a lot more highly of her now.
Campbell County. I've been up in Campbell County a good bit.
Oh yeah, that's where I'm from. That's
I think about Campbell County. You can go from 3 cities in 5 minutes.
Oh yeah.
Well, the tie-in, he was talking about Congressman Burchett, who thinks he's Cas Walker. You know, he tries to be like Cas.
He's hilarious. Yeah. Do you follow him on social media?
Yeah, I love it. He said he's just fed up with him. He goes, well, thanks for sending me here.
Yeah. We just went and wasted another $1.6 million of your money. Thanks.
But you mentioned,
I love it.
You mentioned we was talking about it earlier, and David, we're going to have him out here in a few weeks. Is Jeff Haygood. Now, Jeff is a big fan of the Cas Walker Show.
Oh, I know. Jeff is the one who introduced me to everything.
Yes, Jeff is so involved in politics. It'll probably be April. I'm going to bring him out and get him on there. Jeff does the quarterback club at UT at Calhoun. He does the quarterback club each week they meet and is a huge supporter, but he's also Philip Former's attorney. And, and Philip was, we had his wedding at our church. Jeff got married this fall, and Philip was his best man.
How about that?
It's a great event. Yeah, it's a great event. And Philip hosted a party at his house, and we went over, and it was funny. I probably shouldn't tell this story, but my wife goes, in this beautiful house, but it was very livable. And I'd never been in there. I mean, I'm up here in the Tri-Cities. Anyway, he says, Dawn goes in, comes back out of the bathroom. She goes, they shop at Target, too. I said, I thought you was a city girl. You're a redneck.
They take it to Ray Hand's house, see the fish swim around the bathroom.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. It's funny.
Ladder over the ceiling.
They got fish in the bathroom?
They go around the wall, cranky. You sit down on a commode and drag them in. No.
Okay, they're not in the bathtub, though. They're in the bathtub.
They're in the walls. The nice walls, you see fish swimming around.
But you're tying with UT and politics is going to do well. And it's going to help you. It's going to help you. And knowing people like Ron, David, we'll
have to take him over to Ray's house one night.
Yeah, I want to see.
You got to see this.
Yeah.
You fish while you use the bathroom?
Well, you can watch him.
They got glass. You can drink.
I'm not in that loop. They've never invited me to run. Go ahead. Do
me neither.
Continentally and a bunch of
Speaking of Con, do you know he's doing a benefit Saturday night out at Walter State? People. He was on with me yesterday.
We grew up together as kids, went to church together. If you really want to think about Con, just tell about his grandpa getting religion and all of that stuff.
He was on with me yesterday. We talked just a little bit about it.
Yeah. Well, he can tell you something.
Snow.
It's real interesting.
Is it snow like that?
Somebody loaned me my gun back. I got robbery to make.
Somebody walked in and handed me a stack of money.
Oh,
Jasper.
I know you got other guests here, David. So
I want some games for Tennessee football.
There you go.
That's right.
Vaughn, we want to thank you for all this guests you're bringing. Tell us who's going to be next.
In 2 weeks, we're going to have better. Just won Spigma Double Play of the Year, and I think it's one of very, very few people that's ever won the IBMA and the Spigma Double Play of the Year this year, and he's going to be with us in 2 weeks. Yeah, he's doing great, and went and met with him the other day. We're going to have him March the 5th And then on March the 19th, we're going to have Jimbo Whaley. We're going to be talking about a show we're doing in Country Tonight on March the 28th. It's Jimbo Whaley and Friends. We're going to have a great show up there at Country Tonight, and it's a benefit for the I think it's the Sevier County Rescue Squad. And then April the 4th, between now and then, I'll be telling you a little bit more about that. But we're going to have Rodney Dillard. I am hoping and praying I can get Rodney over here, but he'll be here with the Mayberry Comes to Maynardville at Union County High School. We're promoting it.
I'll be there.
Yeah, well, we're going to have a big time. We've got a bunch of seats available. I think we seats about 1,000 people, so we're hoping we'll have a big crowd. But myself and Ron Meredith here that you just met, we're going to put us together before I leave this earth. We're putting a show together for Anderson County people out here.
I was going to say one of the first times I really got to be around Sammy for any length of time. We decided we were going to do a show down here at the Ritz Theater. This is in the 90s, late 90s, wasn't it?
Early 2000s,
maybe. Anyway, it was called Evening in Mayberry, and there were some folks from up at Jellicoe that they put on Mayberry skit. And I guess they used Sammy as Barney, and that's where I met him. But we sold that place out one night, 2 times.
Twice.
About 800 people a pop.
Dr. Bill Snyder, that used to be the chancellor at UT, he was at the second show that night.
Really?
And we did a 11-year run at the Tennessee Theater with the show we did over there with him. But he says, I still remember that night standing in line out there in Clinton. Never been to that thing called the Ritz Theater.
Yeah.
And he said, I stood in line, and for that first show to finish,
Pinnacle has earned the 2017 Triple Excellence Award and holds an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau. Or you get windows for the entire house from $79 a month, siding from $99 a month, or an entire roof from $89 a month. Call now, 865-444-6013. That's 865-444-6013. Or go to pinnaclehomeImprovements.com. That's PINNACLE HomeImprovements.com. With credit approval, some conditions apply.
AM 1380 WISH, FM 101.1 and 99.5. Clinton, AM 960 WQLA and FM 95.9 in La Follette. Good morning, everybody. It's Ask Your Neighbor. David West stars the stories of the Cas Walker Show. You're just loaded for bear today, aren't you, man?
Oh, we got him, ain't we?
You do.
We got one of my special friends here. And, of course, a lot of people know Zane Daniel is his brother. He was Attorney General. But this one here was a judge. Her daddy was a judge.
Yes.
And he became judge, a lawyer, and we can tell some stories about him here, but it's Creed Daniels. If all the folks here in Clinton that's listening, especially judges and lawyers and stuff, they listen to this show.
Well, that may not be good. Hey, Ron, we'll keep you out of trouble if you need me, all right?
But anyhow, we've had some good times together. Me and Creed goes way back.
Most of which you can't tell us, can you?
Show.
He don't want to tell it.
I want to get Creed to tell a story, but I want to tell one quick.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, he was a judge up in Granger County, and he called me up one day, and we'd been to Nashville and done a recording on David Carson. He said, "Could you bring David Carson up to Middleborough?" And I said, "Yeah." I took him up, so Creed closed his courthouse down. It's Nashville calling us right there now. Yeah, Creed, he shut that.
That's your.
That's Nashville calling. That's what it is.
Nashville calling.
Yeah. Creed closes the courthouse down and said we're going to play for law and order. And we get out there playing. And while he had the courthouse closed down, this lady, she drove 50 miles to get a divorce.
I'll let you tell me.
Okay. Creed said, well, lady, we're playing for law and order. And said, on top of that, we got to go get something to eat. She said, well, I've hired somebody to bring me 50 miles to get my divorce. He said, get in the car. We'll just take you out to eat. She said, I don't want to eat. I want a divorce. So we go eating. We come back up the road. You can tell she's on pins and needles. She looked over and said, well, Judge, are you going to give me my divorce? And he said, well, yeah, I guess we're going to take her up before the day's over. And he's driving down there, and he said, well, let's just do it right here. And he said, David Earl, do you think this girl needs a divorce? He said, yes. I said, you have to have a witness. I said, I'll be a witness. And he rattled all these rigmaroles over what you got to do to get a divorce. And he hit the dice real hard. First, he brought the courthouse to order. He hit it, and then hit that and said, it's a serious hefty divorce. Don't get married for 30 days. And it went on for 2 weeks, and I was playing on Gay Street, and I heard somebody walking up, clicking in my heel, and she said, remember me? And I said, oh, yeah, did you get your divorce? She said, you ought to know, you're my witness.
True story. Divorce in Cadillac, right? Yeah. That's,
we was talking about some...
That's service right there, bro. I tell you. That's right.
We're talking about some...
I didn't get paid nothing, though.
Gavel on the dashboard.
Yeah.
Yeah, he don't get it. I want you to tell one. This is one.
Did he live? Said, yes, he lived. Said, well, that's bad. This guy went for Mr. Jenkins and had overall on the old strapped overalls on, and wanted Miss Jenkins to represent him. How much will you charge me? He said $2,500, and that guy down and pulled out some money, and Miss Jenkins said, as a retainer. Go ahead.
I remember this, and this old boy come in at Bernie, been growing marijuana back then. It's pretty bad case, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They caught it, he had a big patch of it, you know, he'd grown it everywhere. He come to Zane, he said, buddy, I need a lawyer. And Zane said, what's the problem? He said, well, they got me for growing marijuana. And he said, how many times it cost you? He said, oh, it's the first time. Zane said, well, it'll be $25,000. He said, I can clear it all up for $25,000. That boy said, well, I ain't got 25. Zane said, well, go out there and sell some of it.
Hey, Ron, I was trying a case that involved whether my client had the green light or red light right in the middle of town.
Mm-hmm.
And a witness, I had a witness, and he said that he saw it, and that Mr. Daniels' client had the green light. And he testified to that, and he said, how far away was this? He said, well, I guess it's probably 100 yards down there, but I could see the light. And so the attorney then, the defense attorney, he got to ask him, he said, you said that you could see the light, and that Mr. Daniels' client had the green light. He said, how far can you see? He said, I can see the moon. How far is that? The jury just broke up.
I guess so. Makes a good point, doesn't he?
Well, he made his point.
I can see the moon.
He said, I can see the moon. How far is that?
I guess you won that case.
Well, did okay on that case.
I done a guy like that for one day at Satterville. I was trying to sell it on something, and I had my binoculars up, and I looked way down the street to another business, and I saw a sign, and I read it. I memorized it. I said, well, shoot. He said, how's your eyes? I said, well, you see that sign hanging on that building? And he said, yeah. I said, well, I can read that. So I called it off. He said, well, I can't see it. He said, let me get my binoculars and go try to get it. And he said, boy, that's right. I tell him about the one of Big Eddie, the Vice Eddie, when he was betting on the boat.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this a good friend, and is Eddie Denton. And Eddie
on Senators Club.
Then around Senators Club at that period of time. And anyway, he and the guy were betting and on the flip of a coin. And it was in sort of living room of the club out there. And one of them had a car and the other had a boat. Pretty high stake betting on heads or tails. So Eddie said, so I'll call it. And the guy, he said, okay, flip a coin. Eddie said, heads on the carpet. And they come up tails on top. And he said, well, I win. The guy said, you didn't win. He said, it was tails. He said, well, I said heads on the carpet. he said, the heads was on the carpet. They got in a big argument over then just called the bet off. He wasn't going to lose.
It's called hedging your bet.
Yeah.
Eddie was a better one. He bet on anything.
Oh, gee.
He go try to bet. He could walk up to you and you have a red shirt on, you bet you $100 that's yellow. And just pay it right there to get a crowd. I mean, he paid that off. Everybody thought he was crazy. They'd give it around, then he start clipping them. He did all kinds of
Zane was with him in the Bahamas, and they went out on a boat to fish. And they had pretty good pot. and it's coming in, and nobody caught a fish. Eddie gave a little boy that was working with the captain on the boat, Eddie slipped him a $20 bill, and he said, go back there and get one of them little fish out and put it on my hook. And that boy sneaked around and did it.
Got one of the bait fish, right?
The bait fish would come in. Eddie had the bait fish on that deal. He won the pot. And he won the pot. Well, there's a leaving, and they had two cabs to take them back to the hotel. And they got up a bet which group could get it back first. He came through town down there, and school had turned out, and all the little kids were standing there and at a red light, and they all had white uniforms on. And he said, "Give me all the change, give me all the change you got." And they gave him all. And the light was about to change, and Eddie threw all that change out in front of that other cab. They had to stop. He couldn't. The kids was out there in front of that other cab. Eddie just waved by him.
We're talking about the things that happen with the butcher and all. We played some main show, and I tell you, back in the 70s, like 74, $100 was a lot of money. 74 had to be.
$100 a lot of money now.
Yeah, and the CH broke in, they had about 25, 30 people behind him. He broke in one of the big clubs, and he'd say, "Where's your manager?" The manager walked up and he said, "We come here, David Earl, and said, take his $100 bill. We want good tables." And he put him right up. Where you order, Mr. Butcher?
Start off right. Yeah. Tell us, who's your guest, and tell us what we're doing here with the movie.
Sure.
Talk a little bit about this.
Get up here. He's my buddy too. So go ahead.
I go way back with Creed, about 30, 40 years, but I'm a filmmaker, and I'm working on a project on Gay Street for the last 100 years, and all the music that took place on Gay Street. Everything from the Sturkey building, where they would literally record live and burn you an album right on the spot back in the 20s. And then all the way up to the midday merry-go-round, and all the way through the Star Time, and then Cas Walker's Farm and Home Show. There's so much went on Gay Street for the last 100 years. And I'm doing it in the Kim Burns style, his country music style, his country music, series that he did this past fall.
Sure.
And so I'm boiling Knoxville's music history down to the last 100 years on Gay Street. And that's Ciderville, and we've had so many musicians come through here. And one of the things that really came out in the Kim Burns story was the fact that Nashville, the reason why they claimed, the home of country music, it was just a few businessmen got together and made that happen.
Yep.
It was nothing but a business deal. But when it came to just pure organic music, country music, Gay Street was the most important street in America at the time.
Especially the days of Lowell Blanchard and the Midday Merry-Go-Round, and that was a big deal.
It really was.
You got read just a few of the places that was in. Some people don't remember some of them.
This is a storyboard.
Pictures of business, and it's going to be kind of what it's about here.
Yeah, this is the storyboard. This is the bottom is the 100-year history of music on Gay Street. And then the top part, because in 1919 was the year Regus Restaurant started also.
Okay.
So their 100-year history coincides with what went on Gay Street. And it was the ebb and flow of Gay Street.
Go ahead.
Because Gay Street it actually peaked in about 1921.
Okay.
And then from that point on, we had, that was the roaring 20s. And then the Great Depression happened. And then the wars happened. And so Gay Street really, it went down, and downtown Knoxville went down for many years. And it wasn't until the last 10 years probably that Knoxville kind of got some momentum back. But in 1982, about the time of the World's Fair, Knoxville and Nashville were about the same size at that time.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And then when the butcher banking, scandal went down, that's when we lost our momentum. And it was a lot of it was a political hit on the butchers. And that really affected Knoxville. And so since that time, Knoxville and Nashville, the difference is Nashville's grown about 183,000 people.
Yeah.
Knoxville's grown 3,000 people.
Really?
The last time a high-rise was built in Knoxville was 1978. So
and it all rolls back to that?
It rolls back to the hit on the butchers in 1982.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a fascinating story.
Where will folks be able to see your film when you finish it?
I hope to have a premiere.
Okay.
And we're looking to do either the Bishu Theater or a good-sized venue.
Okay.
But it'll be but it's a long project. I've been working on it about 18 months.
How long do you have to go, you think?
I hope to have it done in about 6 months. I want, David Earls to be part of it. Creed's given me a lot of good information because I do personal memoirs, and I just finished a 112-minute film on the life of Creed Daniels. And
did you embellish? He couldn't tell it all. Go ahead.
Gosh, no. Yeah. Yeah, I heard a lot of this is off the record.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a sanitized version
exactly.
of Creed Daniel, the Creed Daniel story.
Letting everybody know, too, just real quick, Clinton City Schools are closing at 12:30. So if you have children at Clinton City Schools, you'll need to make arrangements to pick them up here in the next hour. So we've got Morgan County Schools closing, Anderson County Schools closing, Clinton City Schools closing. We'll keep you up to date on any other closures as they come. I hope Tail's okay. You guys are going to have fun.
Yeah, if you're down for somewhere.
Yeah, you can get down. It's just where you end up at the bottom is the fun part. But you'll go down.
Faster than you want, probably.
Maybe. Yeah. That's great. And have you done other film work?
I have. I do. Most of it's personal memoirs. And most families want it private. I mean, it's for their family.
Sure.
It's their genealogy, their family histories. The name of my company is Family Story Keepers. And that's FamilyStoryKeepers.com is my website. But most of the films are private, but I did the life and times of Bill Regas.
Oh, wow.
I did his life story. You can see that on YouTube. I've got a YouTube channel under Joe McCamish.
Did Mr. Regas, didn't he at one time have gentlemen that went on to start Wendy's work for him?
Yeah, Dave Thomas.
They worked for Mr. Regas.
Well, they were both Bill and Dave Thomas. Dave Thomas, I think, was 2 years younger, and Bill was 16, and Dave Thomas was 14. And back at that time, the Manhattan Project was taking place in Oak Ridge, and all those workers, no one knew what they were working on. It was an atomic bomb. They found out later. But at that time, the Southern train station was right across the street from Regas. And so all these workers that were getting on and off the trains, they would come in Regas and eat at the cafe. And then they would also get a bagged lunch to take to work. And so Dave and Dave Thomas and Bill Regas, these kids, they were working the second shift. They worked, I think, from midnight. No, I think they were from 6 to midnight.
Okay.
And they would bag about 400 brown bag lunches every single night. And that was their job, and that's how they became best buddies. And then Dave Thomas went on to later years after the war, because he went to the war, the Second World War. After that, he came back and he started working for Colonel Sanders, Kentucky Fried Chicken.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so up in Columbus, he took over, Colonel Sanders gave him the opportunity to take over 3 or 4 Kentucky Fried Chickens that were failing. And so he turned those around and he gave him ownership of them. And he sold those, and he made his first $1 million by the time he was 30 years old. And then he got the idea to do a burger restaurant.
Wow.
And
named it after his daughter, right?
Named after his daughter, Wendy.
Yeah.
And one of the great hooks, this is part of the Bill Regas, Life and Times Bill Regas story. I thought this is fascinating. One of the things he identified, the way he was going to be able to make a fresh hamburger was because Burger King and McDonald's at the time had the drive-up window. But you didn't have time to make a fresh burger when people would just pull up to the window and get their burgers. So he put the order menu at the back of the parking lot. And so you had to go to the back of the parking lot and place your order. And by the time you got to your window, you could have a fresh burger. And that was the big hook on what made Wendy's so successful.
Really?
Yeah.
That's very interesting. Smart, too.
He was smart. Yeah, it was brilliant.
He also, what was the, I can't remember, but there was a reason that he made his burger square instead of round. I can't specifically remember.
I don't remember that either.
But they use real meat. There's one just soybeans. You go. Some of them is just soybeans. You don't get meat.
No, I remember. I mean, some of the marketing that they did was genius. Where's the beef? I mean, that's iconic. It'll live for a long time in marketing and advertising. Interesting stuff. Yeah. We've had a lot of characters come through. I mean,
we have.
Hank Williams. I mean, it's whether or not he was dead before he left Knoxville or not, no one will ever know. But that's his last night was spent right downtown Knoxville.
Well, what's interesting about this film that I'm doing is the reason why I started for 1919 through 2019 is because it's hard to believe, but in 1919 you could get arrested for sneezing in downtown Knoxville.
Really?
Because the Spanish flu was going around, and the Spanish flu was decimating. There were more people died in Europe because of Spanish flu than died in the First World War. And it actually started in Arkansas, and a guy had it, went to boot camp, and infected everybody in boot camp. They got all shipped off to Europe to fight the First World War, and it spread over there. And between 50 and 100 million people died from the Spanish flu in Europe in 1919.
So you weren't allowed to sneeze in public.
And you could get arrested in Knoxville for sneezing in public. Wow. So that was just one of the things that was going on. And then you had the race riot was within eyesight on the other side of the railroad tracks in downtown Knoxville, down what they call Jackson Central.
Does your documentary include anything about Arthur Q. Smith, the songwriter in Knoxville that wrote so many of those songs?
You know, there are so many people. I mean, David Earl has, he's a walking encyclopedia of music.
Arthur Q. Smith is a big one.
Arthur,
wrote songs.
Amazing.
I want to pull in all you guys that know all these people. And
I don't know him. I've just listened to him tell stories for 25 years.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's walking. I want to be a big part of this film.
In all sincerity, we've been doing this for probably pushing 20 years, and I didn't know about Arthur Q. Smith until David. And then to go back and look at all the songs that he wrote for people, it's just amazing. Sit down and pen a song in a few minutes, and it million seller in a few days. I mean, it was back then. He wrote tons of stuff. Wasn't Ricky Skaggs the first person to ever acknowledge you?
She said his wife told me, said that he was the first guy that came to her house. He said, let me get bits and pieces and songs so you can get some royalties and start getting money off them. But Ellie White's son, Michael White, worked at Tree, which is the biggest in Nashville.
Publisher.
And he told his daddy, and his dad told me in Luke, he said, I go back there where I can really see who really wrote the songs. Nobody knows who wrote them, like Sweet Dreams and all that, and even a lot of Hank Williams songs. It says right there at the bottom, it's say Arthur Q. Smith. When he sold it, it don't bother you. Don Gibson bought a lonesome leaf from him for Clark Boone bought wedding bells for $10.
Oh my.
See, and all these songs he wrote, but you got Claude Boone's name on it because he owned it.
Well, Claude and his family get the royalties, but they finally started acknowledging that Arthur wrote them,
Yeah, who really wrote them, but they put who really wrote them just in a corner for the record. And it was after the war was over, Overlooked Orchid, Blue Day, I Can't Stop Loving You, Sweet Dreams, he wrote all that. They never got nothing, but he sold them.
Well, for the time, he made good money, though.
Ellie White told me, he said, well, he made pretty good. David in the 40s, he wrote sometimes 15 songs a day, sold them for $10 to $20 a piece. He made
$200-300 a day.
We made $20 a week for playing music back. He said, we probably took on $20 a week. He took on $150 to $200 a day.
He was in high cotton.
He said, he just said, you need a song? Give me a piece of paper. I got to go across the street. I need some. Scotty Stoneman was world champion fiddle player 9 times.
Is his daughter still here? Does she still live in East Tennessee, David?
You talking about
author's daughter?
Yeah, she's in the store Christmas.
That's what, you got to bring her over here sometime.
I need to do that.
That would be.
She's in the store sitting there talking to me.
You've talked about her growing up, and it was just normal to have Don Gibson in the house or Hank Williams or whatever on Saturday morning.
She told me, she said, we did get Clark Boone to go on the record for the Historical Center and sign a contract that Daddy did right wedding bells, so we couldn't get very many people to do it. But now Bill Carlisle said, me and him was eating, he said, David, he was over the mall. After the Rainbow at midnight, after the war's over, so he wrote him, that's why I got mine. He said, we all bought them from Arthur D. Smith. So you just,
how amazing
is that? 10 minutes and $2 $20 or $15.
Gosh, it's a big history.
Well, they used to ride from Grants County to Liverpool, 15 years old. On a motorcycle.
Yeah. Lots of history.
His hands would be frozen. He got the Cas Walker, you know, and he get his blood
warm up, play
his fiddle.
So you feel like you have it out maybe in about 6 months. When you get it finished, come back and tell everybody so we can send them to wherever, website and stuff.
Yeah,
like
it'll be on YouTube. I want to make it as available as possible because the story just needs to get out. It needs to be secured.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I want to make sure is this story gets told for generations so people know what went on. I mean, the Sturkey building, isn't even there. There's a hole in the ground on Gay Street where that used to sit. And that is the world headquarters for Sturkey's, one of the biggest retailers in the world at the time.
Wow.
And down the corner where across the viaduct, it was built in 1919. So that was just railroad tracks that separated Regas building, Regas was just a cafe in the bottom floor of the Atkins Hotel. And it was the Atkins Hotel and Watauga Hotel, 7 stories. And the Watauga Hotel was built, or the Atkins Hotel was built by a man that owned the largest oak mantle company in the world. And all those oak mantles were cleared from what is now known the neighborhood as Oakwood.
Real.
And so he cleared that oak forest.
And made mantles.
And had all that cleared land, so he got into building houses and built that whole neighborhood in North Knoxville called Oakwood.
That's amazing.
And he built the Atkins Hotel. And then the late 60s, Bill Regas bought the entire block and tore down the hotel that used to be over the top of Regas.
We're going to get you back for a lot of history.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been doing this. I've been in radio since 1979, and I didn't realize until probably about 90 when I met David and started learning his stories. But didn't realize back in the day they would set up in a hotel room. These record companies, they'd come down and set up, and they'd sit there and make records. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, some of the early RCA and some of those, they were here, and then they finally, when those businessmen went and kind of made the claim of Nashville, that was the first time they had set up and had like a studio that folks went to, because before they would kind of go where the music was happening. They would go set up, and you'd come in, and in a day make a record and walk home with it. It was didn't realize that, but Knoxville was really big for that for a long time.
That was part of Creed's story when he was telling me about when he was 10 years old. His mom would drive him down from Rutledge to take piano lessons at Miles Music Store, which was right across the street from the Midday Merry-Go-Round.
Yeah.
And so after he'd take his piano lessons he would go across the street and see the Midday Merry-Go-Round, and he got a love for music from that, seeing all these, he was telling me about all these stars that he remembers to this day, but it influenced his life, and it influenced everybody's life around here.
Absolutely.
Midday Merry-Go-Round was a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Blanchard.
You sit with the radio.
He was
I remember
Hotshot Elmer.
Yeah. Oh, me and him big buddies. I heard him so much. Just sat with the radio, and they had Charles McMahon that did the farm reports. You remember that?
Yeah.
Capons, and that's how I learned about chickens and stuff. What capons was and all that.
What a capon
Charles McMahon. I just sat there. Mama put me there, and I was just about 5-year-old, and I said, Mama, when they went off Earth, where'd they go to? I didn't know. She said, well, they went home. I couldn't understand where they were going to go. We'll see you, but I didn't know what I thought. I thought they came out of the radio or something. Where they going to go to now? Carl Stewart Cas Walker, I listened to it for years. I didn't know I was going to take it off the air. You know, I listened the last 9 years I was doing television with Cas Walker. Same way with Bonnie and Buster. That was our life, listening to radio.
Sure.
One of them big old floor radios, the wire goes outside, goes to a ground post or up high, like a clothesline. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
You sit there and listen to that. Mom said, go in there and listen now. The music's coming on. Cas Walker Show, Midday Merry-Go-Round. Charles McMahon.
Folks thought I was crazy when, this was years ago, when we first started broadcasting or simulcasting on cable. The cable company used to be split from the river all up through Rocky Top, Lake City, Norris, all up through there was one system, and from the bridge back down into Oak Ridge was a different system. And so we simulcast on the system up in North Anderson County and went up into Campbell County. But at that time, the technology was such that you either used a telephone line to send the audio, which sounded terrible, or take it off of a radio. So we did exactly that. We took the frequency and measured the wire to the frequency of 1380 and ran it like a clothesline outside of the cable company. People were like, "What are you doing?" I said, "We're building an antenna," and that's how we were able to get the signal in well enough to simulcast it up on the cable for years. Might still be there. I don't know.
TVs, you have a big old tall thing,
antenna,
and you have to turn it for stations. Outside, they say they had 2 stations to start with, and then they got 3.
I remember when Daddy bought a rotor. We've got one. I've still got one right there behind that board where you could hook it to the antenna and you could turn it from in the house and it would move it electronically. Remember that?
Sure do. I did that when I first got my first satellite. You had a push button. Oh, you had a push button.
Oh, yeah, and it would turn the dish.
The guy on the satellite company said, he wanted a truck, and I had a big truck. And I said, swap me one. He swapped me one for
satellite.
Satellite looked up. I got the best with the road and everything for that truck.
That is something. All right, guys. Anything else?
I guess we're about ready to wipe up, hadn't we?
But it might need to. It's quarter of.
If we get off the hill here with it.
You'll get off the hill. I just don't know where you end up.
I'll tell you what, we got plenty more stuff we can do here, so if we can't get down, we'll come back in there and start that show.
Yeah, if you can't get down the hill, we'll just come in here and tell more lies. That's what it is.
Lie to each other.
Yeah.
This show's a little bit far out. 23rd of March back at Wild Wings at Powell.
Okay.
And the 11th is... we got 2 shows that day. I'm going to tell you more about them. I'll just run them by you.
Okay.
We're going to have some of these people over here from Claxton Church of God's going to have a big Easter egg hunt. And we're going to be performing outside on that one.
About all eggheads.
That's going to be April 11th. And we got a lot of shows. We got a lot of shows in the making. What did you say?
I said you're going to invite all eggheads.
Yeah, we're going to invite them all. And I heard one last night. Did you hear about the half-wits?
The half-wit?
Did you hear that?
Huh.
President Trump said, we had the Senate voted real good the other day. Said it voted 52.5. He said, of course, the half-wit just voted for the half-wit.
I didn't hear that.
But we do got something we'll leave it with. Everybody talks about the weather, but nobody does nothing about it. You know who said that? Floyd said, Calvin Coolidge. And he said, no, Calvin Coolidge didn't say that was Mark Twain. I was listening to the New Green Deal. I mean, they honestly think they can make it snow and rain and a wind blow, and they're going to do something about the New Green Deal with weather. But who in the world can control the weather but the good Lord? Ain't nobody ever stopped the rain. They never made it snow, never made it stop. I mean, and even if we sacrificed everything we own in America, the rest of them wouldn't. The ship would still sink because the water would still be over. But I can't believe our country's getting in such a mess.
It ain't going. I don't think it's going to arrive at that.
The New Green Deal. I said, how they going to fly the planes? Extension cords. So I think they getting the extension cord. I'll tell you right quick.
You gotta use energy to make.
You can't get him stopped.
I just let him go. I've learned. I don't stop him. I just let him loose.
Me and Creed is trying to work on a deal right now.
Mm-hmm.
We've got us a van.
You got a van.
And we're thinking about doing portable We're going to marry or divorce you, portable. We got this van.
Bring his
hammer. He bring his hammer and we'll make house calls.
Okay.
You just pull up, ma'am, you need a divorce. Let me get the judge in. Come in there, judge, sit right here, and we can do it right in your home.
Small nominal fee. You take care of everything, right?
Portable weddings, portable divorces. Great thing.
Be easy to get them out after they get in.
but Zane wrote a commercial one time. He said, "This is for women only. If I can't get you out, I'll get in with you."
That's his criminal cases. How much fee would he get?
I don't tell no thing.
All right, guys.
Ron, good to see you.
It's good to see you guys. Nice to meet you. I appreciate you coming in. Like I said, when you get your film done, let us know. Come back, what have you. You know you can come anytime.
Me?
You're a show by yourself.
Hey,
don't tell everybody, Ron.
He's got a list this long. We didn't get him all. We'll get him next time.
Okay. Guys, have a good day. Thanks for listening. We'll keep you up to date on weather and closings.
Thank you for listening to AM 1380 WYSH and Ask Your Neighbor. Make sure you tune in at 10 a.m. each day, Monday through Friday, right here on AM 1380 WYSH and BBB TV 12, or listen live online at WYSHradio.com. And remember, if you have a question, comment, or problem, call in tomorrow and ask your neighbor, or email from our website. It's Ask Your Neighbor. Thanks for listening.
H&H Body Shop is a family-owned and operated body shop. Here's Darla, co-owner of H&H Body Shop, on how she ended up in the family business.
Well, I was born into it, but I did choose it. I helped my dad at night on his paperwork when I was a kid. Then I started during high school coming up here. Then after I graduated Rome State, I ended up here full time. Daddy got ready to retire, and he wanted me and Barry to do it together. So me and Barry became partners in the early 90s, and we've stuck together ever since.
What do you think sets H&H Body Shop apart from all the others?
We try to fix your car like it was our own. A lot of times other body shops just don't care like that. We're family business, and we act like a family business.
H&H Body Shop on North Main Street in Clinton. Call 865-457-9734. H&H Body Shop. There since 1960. There when you need them.
When you have a wreck, a good day can become a bad day in a hurry. But when it's time to get that wrecked car towed away, there's one name you need to know: Lowe's Tows. Did you know they work with all insurance agencies and body shops? They can assist you throughout the whole process. Call them at 865-457-6927. Lowe's Tows has 26 years experience serving Anderson and surrounding counties. You know, you can request the company you want to tow your vehicle. Call Lowe's Tows at 865-457-6927. Lowe's Tows is locally owned and operated under new ownership, and they will tow anything, anywhere, from a Volkswagen to a semi-truck. The stress of having a wreck is bad enough. When you call Lowe's Tows, that's one less thing you have to worry about. Lowe's Tows, 614 Clinch Avenue in Clinton. They're here to take care of your needs. Call 865-457-6927 or find them on Facebook. Lowe's Tows.
Get ready to enjoy an early spring at Hammer Stores. Shop and save during Hammer's 32nd Annual Beach Party Bargain Days Spring Sale. This sale lasts the entire month of February, and new items are put out each week. Check out the deals on ladies' famous label swimwear in separates, 1- and 2-piece styles, and junior, missy, and plus sizes. Choose from over 10 brands.